All right, do you guys know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the NFC divisional playoffs from last year when the 49ers beat Green Bay after I was the last person in Lambeau Field. The difference this time, although there is precipitation in the air down on the field, is that it's about 70 or 80 degrees warmer. I still have a big regret from that NFC divisional game since I was the last person at Lambeau Field at 3 a.m. I should have walked out to the middle of the field in the snow and done a live from there. The only issue would have been that I might have frozen to death and I didn't know my way too well around the stadium, which is embarrassing for a Lombardi. But I digress. I didn't do it. I stayed in the comforts of the press box and we did a cool show. You could go look it up. That was after a massive 49ers win. Today, the 49ers get another big win. It's not quite NFC divisional playoff status, but this was a dominant win over Seattle. Yeah, I get it. I get the Trey Lance stuff. We're going to talk a lot about that, obviously. We're going to probably just have a full week, probably a full year of arguments about Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan running the football with him and maybe overworking him in the run game, which, is a complex discussion that has a lot of nuance. And I'll get to that, but we shouldn't let this get buried in the injury discussion. And that's that the 49ers, who obviously laid an egg down the stretch in week one, came out with a dominant performance here in week two. They outgained Seattle by about 150 yards. They had 38 minutes of possession. Seattle only had 22 minutes of possession. They ran 70 plays. The Seahawks only ran 47. I mean, all offseason, we've been talking about the 49ers and their dominant roster. And then, a lot of people get on social media after week one are like, oh, roster didn't look so dominant. I said, no, roster's still talented and dominant. They just committed 12 penalties. And today, the 49ers only committed one penalty. It was a ticky-tack call against Emmanuel Mosley on DK Metcalf. And you see what a clean football game will do. All three phases of the game aside from the blocked field goal. But even special teams aside from that did good. The defense only 36 rushing yards, essentially a shutout for the defense. Jimmy Garoppolo played a really, really good game. I mean, this was a title effort from the 49ers. They're in midseason form today. So that is really the backdrop for this performance from the 49ers today, that they show that they're a really good football team moving forward. And, I mean, we'll pivot to the Lance injury right now. I think at this moment, with Jimmy Garoppolo as QB1, the 49ers are better than they were with Trey Lance as QB1. You guys watch my channel for the nuance, right? So don't just cut up that clip and post it without context. We had long discussed the fact that right now, Jimmy Garoppolo is more efficient than Trey Lance. But we also know that the 49ers were playing a very complex, long game with Trey Lance, that they were hoping to give him the reps, that he would develop on the fly, while the defense led the way over the course of the 2022 season, to where they hoped that by the end of the year that Trey Lance would surpass Jimmy Garoppolo in as far as efficiency goes. It was a highly risky maneuver and tactic for several reasons. The most obvious being, well, why aren't the 49ers starting the guy that gives them the best chance to win now? But Shanahan felt that it would play off in the long term. Right? That was the big news, that Shanahan hoped that over the long term, the 49ers would find transcendence at the quarterback position. The other risk there was that because Trey Lance wasn't fully developed as a pocket passer yet, the 49ers were going to have to put his health at greater risk by running him more often, because you're balancing multiple interests, right? And one of the things that you have to balance is the need to call the most efficient plays for the quarterback who's in the game. And it was very clear the 49ers believed that was by running the football with Trey Lance more often than throwing it. In fact, over the first 15 plays of the game, because Lance got hurt on play number 15, the 49ers ran the ball 12 times. 3 of those were Lance runs, and he got hurt on the third one. So the 49ers were trying to cross this bridge, right? They were trying to get Lance to a point of development and efficiency that surpassed Jimmy Garoppolo's. And the only way to get there would be to play him this year, because last year he already got his feet wet on the bench. Now he'd have to actually play to get better. And the only way that Trey Lance can, lead the 49ers to the most efficient possible outcome now, or, I shouldn't be speaking in the present tense anymore, but the only way to get to, where he needed to be would be to run a little bit. That was part of the game plan. I mean, if you took away the running aspect from Trey Lance, he wouldn't, be Trey Lance, especially right now. He wouldn't be able to be the most effective quarterback possible because the passing, really hadn't caught up yet as far as development went. So it was this really intricate balancing act that the 49ers were playing. And it was absolutely fair to question the sustainability of running Lance so often, especially in between the tackles, right? I said it, I tweeted this after, and I've been thinking this for a while. I've been thinking it ever since the 2021 season when Lance ran 16 times against Arizona. I've been thinking it since last week when Lance ran 13 times against Chicago. And then I tweeted it out after his second run today where he got hit pretty hard running in between the tackles. It's absolutely fair to question a strategy that, although I understand the strategy, but I didn't really fully agree with it because it's incumbent on Trey Lance surviving a beating running in between the tackles. And there's a reason why running backs have a higher injury rate than quarterbacks do, because they're carrying the ball in between the tackles, exactly what the 49ers were asking Trey Lance to do. So it was just logic that Trey Lance would be exposing himself to more injury, even though the 49ers found it necessary as part of their formula to win games. So that was the risk, that was part of the deal, right, that the 49ers made when they determined that Trey Lance would be their QB1 this season. They knew they had to bridge that passing development gap. They knew they were going to do it by running heavily, and they just crossed their fingers and hoped that Trey Lance wouldn't get hurt, that this wouldn't happen. And you could say that hope is not a good strategy. I probably would tend to agree with you. But when that kind of hope is part of your strategy, you'd better insulate the quarterback room. You'd better fill it with quality depth. And the 49ers did, to their credit, manage to do that, even if it kind of fell into their laps with Jimmy Garoppolo returning as QB2. You could be assured that the 49ers are very, very happy that they have Jimmy Garoppolo still on the roster right now. It's funny because there were a lot of very vocal people on social media that didn't want the 49ers to have Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, the fact that they do still have him on the roster has, for now, saved the season for the 49ers. It's as simple as that. Having Jimmy Garoppolo has saved the season for the 49ers. He made $350,000 today, $250,000 in incentive money for taking at least 25% of the snaps, and another $100,000 because the 49ers won the game. Every single week now that Garoppolo takes 25% or more of the snaps, he'll make $250,000 on top of what he made this year. And he'll make $100,000 every time he satisfies those conditions and the 49ers win. So a good day for Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously. A sad day for the 49ers as a whole because the long-term plan of developing Trey Lance is put on the shelf. I mean, that the franchise gave up so much to draft Trey Lance, and that's, where you question the strategy of running him so much because you invested so much in him, right? So if you're exposing him to more injury after making such a big investment in him, it can end up being very counterproductive. And that's exactly what happened today. The counterproductive option, did befall the 49ers. They were hoping that they would get away with Trey Lance staying healthy. It turns out that hope was not a very good strategy in that regard. But they have to move forward with what they got. And this is such a layered, nuanced situation. At the end of the day, you have to laud the 49ers for bringing Jimmy Garoppolo back, whether they lucked into it or not. They have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster, and because of that, their team is stronger right now than it was at the start of the day, at least as far as the QB1 of the depth chart position goes. Just a totally bizarre situation. They can't play that long game over the course of 2022 anymore, but they can definitely play the short game and take solace in the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is the more efficient option right now at quarterback. And he played a really good game today in the rain for the 49ers. What was crazy is that Jimmy came up firing today. He was the average depth of target over the first 10 throws or so was 90th percentile, like 11 yards per attempt. It was 2017-esque when he was playing his best football. And I go up to Jimmy in the locker room today and I say, you came out You came out aggressive. Kyle was letting you be aggressive. And I think part of it was that they were running the Trey Lance game plan, but Jimmy showed that he can execute the Trey Lance game plan. He threw outside the numbers to Ray McLeod. That was a bullet. I mean, there were no questions today about Jimmy Garoppolo's arm strength in that first half. And Jimmy told me when I told him that, he said, yeah, when I'm allowed to throw, good things will happen. And he was very confident. He had he had that unbridled energy about him that, I don't want to say the careless energy, but it was this, I've been through the ringer kind of energy from Jimmy Garoppolo to where he said, I'm just going to let it fly. And he said it felt like 2017 again. And that's really intriguing news for the 49ers because the best version of Jimmy Garoppolo that they have seen over the course of the past 5 seasons or however long it's been with the team has been that 2017 version. And if they get that 2017 version playing consistently for them, healthy on a week in and week out basis, well, this team could be really, really good because the defense today shut Seattle out. Again, the only points for Seattle were on special teams. And the defensive line was just wreaking havoc, getting after the quarterback. Talanoa Hufanga tipped up an interception to Deshaun Gibson. Gibson's 28th interception of the season. Go check out my Twitter and The Athletic for the link to that article. Hufanga said that he was helping Gibson close in on interception number 30, the 11-year veteran. It shows you what kind of teammate Hufanga in his second year is, trying to help his vet teammate to get to that pick. Nick Bosa had a pair of sacks. Dre Greenlaw signed a 2-year contract extension after the game. Just an overall excellent team effort from the 49ers, as you saw in that stat sheet. 38 minutes of possession. The play count was crazy. 70 plays versus 47 for Seattle in this game. So I'm going to start walking out of the stadium now. I don't know if I'll be able to keep you guys in the elevator. We're going to try this out, right? I'm going to take the elevator, and if I lose you in the elevator, just stay with me because it's only going to be a couple-minute ride. So we're leaving the suite here at Levi Stadium. You could say goodbye. We'll open the door. I give you guys a little bit of a tour of the press box here as I put on my backpack. This is actually going to be nice. Let's flip this around so you guys can just take a look at all the newspaper clippings they put here on the wall. Kaepernick, John Brody back in the day. All right, give me a second here. I'm going to toss on the backpack, and then we're going to start walking. Give you guys a little late-night tour of the Levi's press box. Always fun, right? 94 49ers winning the Super Bowl. All right, I got my car keys. I got to make sure I get my wallet too, though, before we leave here. I think it's in my backpack. One second, guys. The people are all coming in. I just got to make sure I have all my stuff. Kind of awkward looking for this in the middle of a live. Go check back in here. On this episode of Lombardi Leaves Levi's, we're looking for David's wallet. I think it might be in my backpack, but I'm just not looking closely enough. Crazy, the things that happen when you're the last one to leave the stadium. You guys will be on this adventure with me now. Yeah, this is crazy. Well, we'll take the little tour here. We'll walk down to see the Writers' Row, and we will see if the wallet is there. So they've got all these newspaper clippings on the wall. And now here, what is this? The media platform from the old Kezar Stadium. Pretty cool. See me there in the reflection. All right, just gonna check to see if the wallet's here. This is where all the riders sit. Yeah, it doesn't look promising. All right, guys, this is the tour. I gave you guys the full tour. I'll be back in a little bit. We'll find this wallet, I promise, but I do think I gave a good little recap of the game, gave you guys a nice little tour of the Levi Stadium press box. So talk to everybody soon. I will be headed out, hopefully soon as I find it. Look at all this stuff that I risked to give you guys a good show. So go check out my Twitter where you can find the link to the article about the 49ers defense on The Athletic. We're gonna talk a long time about all that happened today. Big day in 49ers land, bad news, good news, all kind of rolled into one for the 49ers because they did post a good performance on a day that they did lose Trey Lance. All right, time for me to find the wallet. Take care, guys.